you brought something up that we got to talk about because it's so relevant right now. And you are the health expert. You're the health insurance expert. We were just talking before we got started, but you got this this thing that happened out of New York City with Luigi Mangione, the shooter who ended the life of the CEO of UnitedHealthcare. And I don't know if you noticed this, but the uprising, when I heard about it, I was like, what just this terrible tragedy. It's a terrible tragedy to take someone else's life. Cold-blooded, it's calculated, it's premeditated. And I start watching some of the videos about the incident, and it's kind of like, who is this person? He's like wearing a mask, a backpack. He gets away on a bike. Then you start reading the comment section of these videos, and I was so blown away. There is this wave of an uprising.
There's a lot of anger
of people who were sorry, our feelings are out of network, or sorry, I don't feel bad because I guess you didn't meet my deductible. It was pure anger towards the health insurance industry. Like, so what?
So I actually have some thoughts on this.
Yeah.
And I, over the course of the last 30 plus years, I have had 20 lawsuits against UHC, and that's the company that the CEO worked for.
Yep.
There's no excuse for what happened. And in fact, what's his name? Mangione?
Mangione, yeah.
He was not insured by UHC.
Yeah, I don't know the details about it.
He had no. They didn't cover him.
I think I learned that.
His story is just a story of somebody who's mentally ill. But it taps into this anger. And you need to say it 100 times. No way does the anger justify murder. Period. Zero. That doesn't work. But I think that 35 years ago, managed care became a buzzword. And managed care is what all the insurance companies, that's the rules that they play by. And managed care is only about constricting the flow of money. That's all it is. They make coverage harder in lots of different ways. They've clamped down on what the medical necessity means. Medical necessity doesn't mean what your doctor says is medically necessary. Medically necessary is sort of a black box.
It's what the health insurance companies say it is medical necessary, which is scary.
It used to be that they have consulting physicians that help them determine medical necessity. And it used to be that they were paid, they were bonused for denials. That doesn't happen. Well, not that I know of. That practice was attacked, and they've stopped that. Actually, decades ago. But it's hard to get coverage. I was reading. There's a congressman from Minnesota named Dean Phillips, and he said that his response to the killing and the outpouring was that the insurance company isn't doing anything wrong. It's playing by the rules, and the rules need to be changed. And I looked at that and I thought, I don't agree at all, because the rules don't cover what medical necessity means. They don't discuss that at all. That's something that the health insurance companies get to decide. And it's a little surprising for a congressman not to know that. The way the system is organized, and the health insurance world is divided into two camps: ERISA and non-ERISA. And if your plan is regulated by ERISA, and that's about 60 to 70% of all plans in the country, they've sort of changed the contract rules. So you're familiar with the rules of construction with a normal contract. The rules of construction are such that if you're the drafter of the contract and I'm covered by your health insurance plan, all the ambiguities and doubts are construed in my favor, right? With ERISA, that's not true. Everybody starts at the same place, and the health insurance company does not, except in special circumstances, doesn't or the patient doesn't get the benefit of those rules of construction. And that's hard because health insurance policies are always ambiguous. It's very hard to take an illness and somehow describe it in writing. There's always going to be gray areas in discussing an illness and what makes it medically necessary to cover. The ERISA also requires, this is not in the statute, but the courts have imposed this requirement. If you want to challenge the coverage decision in court, you need to exhaust the internal remedies that the insurance companies provided. And
that's in ERISA and regular contracts, or just ERISA?
Just ERISA.
Okay.
It's in regular contracts if they require it. It doesn't even have to be in the plan for an ERISA participant to be subject to this requirement. The statute just says you need to go to the insurance company and appeal the coverage decision, mm-hmm. and often there's a several layer appeal process. So you can be at this for months and months and months before you can file suit. And if you don't complete the process, the judge will dismiss your case. It's the easiest thing for a judge to do, and they'll do it 10 out of 10 times. In a non-ERISA, and I've actually litigated this a while ago, you can argue that this internal appeals process is not a material term to the contract. It's sort of collateral to what the contract is really all about, and you can basically waive the requirement. And some judges, at least in the past, have accepted that argument. No, that will never be accepted under an ERISA plan. If you don't complete the internal appeal process and file suit, you're done.
You're going to get kicked out of court.
You're kicked out of court.
But what this shooting did up in New York is it had this major groundswell of people that just have this anger. There is a problem, right? And when I think about, like, historically, like, there are events that happen that do, like, all of a sudden shine light on this the mass population that's unhappy with whatever's going on. Now, you could talk to doctors and everyone's going to say that there are issues. There's pros, there's cons. I think a lot of doctors you talk to, like, if you're in, like, a different system, maybe harder, right? I was talking to a doctor the other day, and he says, listen, you go to Europe. I was in Europe, and my wife was sick, and I had to bring her to the doctor. And you call up, you can't get an appointment for 4 months if you're going under insurance. You got to pay cash. And there's all these different rules, and it's much more difficult. And I think at least the system to get to see the doctor here, or to go to an urgent care clinic, or go to wherever to get treatment, it is streamlined to some extent, right? And the question, I guess, is the insurance going to ultimately cover it? Because I don't necessarily have problems so much with my insurance policy, my health insurance policy. It seems like it pays. I don't have a lot of times where I'm getting denials. Now, obviously, just based on the comment section and based on all the news articles and the stories, there are a ton of people out there that feel like they are getting taken advantage of. They are getting their claims denied. They are being, things are out of network, or they're not meeting their deductible, or whatever it is. But you can't just go and take out a CEO. You can't. No. It's the end of the story. And I agree. There's a level of mental illness. Something happened with that young man. I mean, it seemed like he was very educated. He came from a very well-off family. And as soon as I saw that he wrote deny, depose, defend on the bullets, immediately he has a vendetta. It's either he personally has some problem with the health insurance or a close family member. And I think there's been reports about his mom maybe being denied coverage. It is interesting, though, that you got a company that had the highest denial rate out of all of the other health insurance companies. That may be also because of the size, because I think they're number one, right? They're the biggest, But I guess, listen, there are people that are going to be watching this, and they're going to, because this is a hot topic, but